Good afternoon. The time is 2 p.m. and I call to order the HOA2 August 26th Working Board meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm Janine Grippo, your new board president. Let's start with roll call and introductions. Can we start with Charlie?
Charlie Shonless, recording secretary.
Sean Fredman, director.
Larry Santori, director.
Sherry Groupie, secretary.
Brad Nicko, treasurer. Matt Gambick, director.
Joe Kittle, vice president.
And Darren Chelsea, COO.
Thank you. We have an agenda, a full agenda today, and we're going to start we have two sets of minutes to approve. Let's take them one at a time. The June 24th, 2025 regular meeting. Has everyone read the minutes? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion from the board? The members? I call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries unanimously. How about the June 24th, 25 annual membership meeting? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the annual membership meeting minutes on June 24th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Has everyone read those minutes? Any questions or concerns? All right. How about from the members? A call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Well, next up is the president's comments, and difficult at best. For those of you, I'm going to stand because I can't stand not seeing everybody. For those of you with us yesterday, it was a rough day, especially once the lights went out, and I'm blaming Denise Anthony for that. For those of you who were not, the realignment resulted in my appointment as the HOA2 president. I have set for myself the following priorities for the coming weeks and months. I plan to meet with Darren to dialogue about each of our expectations of each other and how we will work together. I plan to meet with each board member to do the same. Number 3, I plan to focus on the 2026 budget and 5-year plan and reserve study, which is all intertwined and the most important matter pressing on us at this point. When time permits, after all of this, I'd like to clarify and define communication styles between the president and COO, a two-way communication style, between the president and the board of directors, a two-way communication style. I want to be able to understand when there are hot topics or focused topics for COO meetings where I might need an officer to come with me, or perhaps a board liaison, or a specific skill, or a committee chair. I want to negotiate that with Darren when we would have someone coming to our meetings. Want to revisit the format and purpose of the Board of Directors working meetings. I looked at the 2024 fact sheet, which says A working session, a session of the board for discussion purposes on a particular topic, open to members and votes are not taken. Well, there's not been one special meeting this year where we didn't have votes, and Darren assures us we're allowed to take votes at such meetings. So maybe we need some revisions to this fact sheet. But let's get it clarified. And I'd like to clarify and define board of director involvement in the board meeting agendas and preparation. A fact sheet of 2024 states the president asks for agenda items from the board 2 to 3 weeks leading up to the meeting, and the board president sends the agenda to the members the first part of the week before the board meeting. So I'm a little confused. Who's preparing the agenda? What's on the agenda? Is it a COO job? Is it a board job? So I'm going to be looking for clarification. So I'm not stepping on toes. And since this is booked as a working meeting, I'm going to ask you to please bear with me today as I ask questions of presenters, board members, or any of you on some of the items we'll discuss today. So I hope that I have your support, and I will hopefully continue to gain your trust. Darren, you're next with COO comments.
Okay, just you can see the list up on the slide. Pretty much the focus the last 30, 45 days, among other things, primarily has been budget work. Terry Dempsey, our Director of Finance, has been working closely with all the department heads and putting all the numbers together, and we're getting close to being able to present a draft budget. We'll be meeting with all the directors next week, so still a lot of budget work to take place. CAM Level 5 pilot program with the GOATs is going well, especially when we augment that effort with contributions from our in-house CAM team. So we did do an analysis, interestingly, when we were doing the work all by hand, it was costing about $10,000 in labor an acre. And we went back and looked at those numbers, and with the GOATs and the contributions from the CAM team, it was costing about $5,000 an acre. So it's actually quite a bit cheaper to use the GOATs, and they're effective. And I haven't really, surprisingly, I haven't heard more than 1 or 2 negative comments about it. Everybody seems to be on board with the program. So we're going to run them a couple times more this year. I think we have it budgeted 4 or 5 times next year to bring them out. And we'll see how that goes. Crack sealing and road sealing contracts were awarded. That's a whole lot of work. That's going to start taking place late September, early October. The weather's going to be a little cooler, but not too cool. So there's a window that we have to do that work. Theater stage has been repaired and coated black. Got a lot of good compliments about that. I didn't know much about stages being black, but apparently that's what they're supposed to be, and all the people that used it thought it was a great idea. New stage lights are on the way. There's a $56,000 allocation for that in the reserves. I think we came in under budget. Preserve building and surrounding walls were all painted. I don't know if you've been up to the preserve. Looks good, looks clean. We modified the color a little bit, but not too much. I think it looks a little bit more modern. And renovation work starts on the pool deck and both pool shells up there early September. We'll be closed up there probably for about a month or better. But when all that work's done, that's a complete facelift for the exterior of the preserve building. And we're also looking at, if you go to the preserve, you have the parking lot, and then you have that stained concrete that joins the sidewalk, and it's really faded bad. We're trying to find a coating that we can put on that to make it look sharp. So when you walk up to the building, everything looks nice. So we're looking at that and looking at options. Desert Days Festival is in planning October 4th. A lot of folks on our team are involved in that event. We're starting to promote it, and it should be a great community event. If you don't know much about it, check the website. And we're looking for a big community turnout. Exterior building renovations underway at all 4 golf course restrooms. We inspected them, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and apparently nobody's inspected them for a long time. And there was quite a bit of work that needed to be done to those, so we packaged all 4 up, and it's all underway right now. Preserve tennis court resurfacing scheduled to start September 2nd. Pickleball storage area building is complete, I think. There was a soffit question, I don't know if they got that resolved, but it's pretty much substantially complete. And then clubhouse patios were refreshed. I don't know if you use Mountain View clubhouse patios outside. They were looking really tired. They were dirty. They were leaks. There were cracks. So we cleaned them all up and pressure washed the deck, put new lighting in, gave them a fresh paint job. They looked really sharp, and we opened back up there. So we're out for the second vote on the CIF. We count that vote September 16th. We can see the electronic votes. We can't see who voted, but they are immediately tabulated. And right now, I think about 2,000 votes have come in, and the spread in favor is about 500. So it looks, nothing changes substantially. It looks like when we get to that September 16th date, even if Robeson does decide to vote its ballots, no, we have enough to cover that. So, and that's it for my report.
Thank you, Darren. Someone asked me yesterday, where are the goats now? And I couldn't answer the question. Did they ask you yesterday?
They are on 36.
Okay, that was from yesterday. I now invite Terry to share July financial highlights.
Hi, good afternoon. Okay, so going over July, cash and investments, we have operating cash of $5.5 million, with $3.2 million of that is invested at Fidelity for the operations. Operating checking and savings has $2.2 million. Reserve cash has $8.2 million at this point. There is $3.1 million in investments for the Preserve Golf Course renovation in 2031. Other investments are $4.1 million. Reserve checking savings has a total of $906,000. Capital Improvement Fund has $1.4 million, and there is of that $1.3 million is in investments. So our combined cash is $15,239,000, and that's an increase of $2.2 million over July of 2024.
And Terry, and since this is a working meeting, this is where I'm going to interject my first question, and it's not necessarily to you. Okay, there was a recent SBGO post concerned about our reserves as opposed to the 2024 audit, what our requirements will be. Does any board member want to try to explain why we should not be panicking at this point?
Well, let's let Terry have the first crack at it.
Yeah, the first crack at it is basically because they make an adjustment. So we're showing for people to understand, we on a monthly basis on our balance sheet, we show what the actual fund balance is. When you look at the balance sheet at the audit, they basically take that amount and they move it into a liability because the reserves and the CIF, if this place were to close down, all that money would have to go back to the residents. So it's literally a liability, and that's the way that's shown. Okay.
Apples, oranges.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Apples, oranges. Go ahead, Brad.
Right. I'm not sure that addresses the SBGO post that you're referring to.
Okay.
As I recall, and I don't have it in front of me, there's a comment on the local site that essentially says the sky is falling at HOA 2 because they have, and they're using old numbers, the real numbers are much bigger, they have a liability relating to reserves of $102 million or whatever. And that's a big number for most people. And then they'll go on to say that they only have, I think they quoted $5 million in reserves, or I don't know where they came up with that number. Let me put it in perspective. That $102 million, I'll give you the bad news first, is really closer over 30 years to $140 to $144 million. Obviously, that's a loose number. In real terms, what it amounts to is that we have an ongoing run rate to maintain all the assets that currently exist in current present value dollars of about just under $3.5 million a year. Okay? So to maintain the buildings, the parking lots, the roads, the golf courses, all the sport courts and all that, on average, okay, we have to put aside in today's value of dollars about $3.5 million. Now, at the same time, and I'm not crazy about how we have our balance sheet allocated right now, but we have over $15 million in cash, and we don't need all that in operating funds. Now, reasonable people can disagree as to how much you need at any point in time, because we do burn cash certain times of the year. But we've got probably $10 million plus that's available to go into reserves right now, and it's early days, but it looks like we're going to have the ability to contribute into reserves somewhere between $4 and $5 million a year. That's a lot more than our room rate, and we're not starting from ground zero. Now, to put it in perspective, people were just sending me HOA1 recent numbers. I can't find where they publish what their long-term reserve requirements are. But they do publish what they're spending for reserve projects this year, what they budget for next year. They do publish what their cash balance is and what their income statement is. And, you know, their run rate is somewhere, I don't know, $1.5 to $2 million run rate per year for needing to do reserves. And they have a little more than half of the cash that we've got. And they don't generate nearly as much cash flow after operations, expense, and subsidies that we have. The only real difference, it comes in two areas. One's a balance sheet issue. They got over their transition many years ago. So they paid the price for catching up with what Robeson left them. We're still digging up from under that. So when we talk about an average run rate over a long term, that really doesn't take into account some catch up that has to happen over the next 10 years. But we're going to be fine. The second thing is when you look at their income statement, our food and beverage is comparable to their results as far as subsidies. Our maintenance is comparable. The real differences are in two areas. Golf, before depreciation, they make a little bit of money. Golf, in our world, we're going to lose a little bit of money. Nothing like we've done in the past. The other area is admin. They spend a lot less money on admin. All right. Now, there's reasons for that. We're spread out more. We're having to fight more fires and deal with construction issues at a pace higher than they are because of the catch-up and whatever. But it's in nobody's interest, as far as HOA2 is concerned, to believe this malarkey where the sky is falling and we have this $100 million plus nightmare. It's fine, okay? It's like you have to put aside $30,000 sometime over the next 10 years to take care of your roof. It's no more complicated than that.
Thank you, Brett. Terry, I won't bother you again until slide number 14. Carry on.
Okay, so let's go to the next. All right, there we go. So this is our reserves. Brad was mentioning this. So this is a one-year cliff is what we're doing. So we have an adjusted budget of $4.1 million in reserves. That is this number here. So through July, we have spent, and I'll show you that in a little bit, $2.1 million in actual. In our other CapEx, we budgeted $765,000, which is this number here, which is operations, capital leases, capital improvement fund, and some carryover from last year. So that's what we have budgeted. We actually, so far on that line, we've spent $503,000. Okay, so the next slide. This is our projection for the reserves for the rest of the year. Our projection is to spend $4.1 million in reserves. So far, we've spent this amount here, and $829,000 on our other CapEx, which is right here. So that gives us a total of $4.9 million that we're looking at spending for 2025. That's through today. I'm sure there'll be changes to that. July, so far, we've spent $2.6 million so far. Okay, next slide.
Terry, if you go back to the previous slide.
Yep.
The one before that. The one before that. The one that showed- You show the total cash, so we're showing a $3 million increase over the previous year, which is
That's correct.
pretty good.
It's very good, yeah.
Is that the way the progress has been? We've always shown a little bit more than the previous year?
Not that much, but a little bit over year to year.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Not that much, yes. Okay, this slide, this slide's our reforecast that we do. So we do a reforecast halfway through the year. This is done because we have a better handle on the current spending and climate than we did back in October last year when we did the budget process. This will give us a better projection of our financial situation through the remainder of 2025. So our operating revenue against reforecast is $17.164, and we are projecting that to be $17,150,000. So that's this number down here at the bottom. So these are all of our revenue generating amenities and fees and such. And we said we would generate $17.1 million, and we're coming in a little bit short on that. So that's where that's happening there. Our operating, next slide, to show the expenses. So these are all of our operating expenses and amenity expenses. So our operating expenses were reforecast at $16.420, and it's coming in at $60,457,000. So a little bit over that. Okay. The net income, which is an important line, this line, we had reforecasted $743,000 net income, and it's coming in at $692,000 as far as projection. Now this is going to change every month as as we go through the year, and we keep track of that on a monthly basis to determine how well we're doing against actually what we reforecasted. So this budget line, this budget column, is what we thought we would do back in October of last year. So we're doing quite a bit different. So.
Terry,
Yep.
may I ask?
Yeah, it's a working meeting.
Yeah, part question, part statement. I want to underscore the importance of getting to a place where after we're taking 30% of our dues, our annual dues, out of revenue, that's not reflected in our operating revenue here, because that's going to reserves. So even after pulling out 30% of our dues revenue and not putting it in these revenue numbers, we're looking at generating around $700,000 before depreciation of net income. Now, net income doesn't always equal cash flow, but for this conversation, for this point, let's just say it is, okay? In the past, and this goes back years, the goal was not to have any less than $100,000 net income pre-depreciation. We didn't want to lose cash flow from operations. As we're becoming more comfortable in our new world operating under Darren and his team, if we can get dependably where we're generating much more than $500,000 of net income, we can start talking about, and the sooner the better, we can start talking about increasing that percentage of dues that goes into reserves that's at 30% to maybe 34%. And when we're able to do that confidently and sustain it year over year over year, that really chips away at the intermediate to longer term reserve issue. So it's all these moving parts, but that's what we're trying to work towards. And these guys are making great headway in, getting to that place.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to interject. I know you and the rest of Darren's team worked very hard on coming up with this reforecast that we're looking at as of July. And I used to get asked this question a lot when I did a budget or a reforecast. What is your confidence level in these numbers? 80%, 90%, 98%?
Well, I'm the accountant, so mine's probably about 75%.
Darren, care to share your confidence level in the forecast, in the reforecast?
I agree with Terry, about 80%.
Okay, and the follow-up question, what risks do you see that could change that trajectory? What risks are laying out there? This is a working meeting.
So right now, the risk I see is that the revenue numbers don't come in when we think they will. Can you go back a slide, please? So we're looking at these revenue numbers, right? And if we don't hit these revenue, we're coming up short from what we had projected in October. We're about $31,000 down from that, and I'm worried about that. These numbers just keep dropping, and I know we're getting back into the high season. What I've told people from my short experience here is that the high season doesn't necessarily end. The back end of the high season doesn't necessarily emulate the first two quarters. So the third, fourth quarter doesn't necessarily emulate. So you might be up here on the first and second quarter, but when the third and fourth quarter come back, you're expecting it to come back from here. I'm seeing it coming back from here.
Terry, I just noticed that the revenue is down about, what, $300,000 from budget from the year?
Yeah.
But we've done much better
Yeah.
on overall profitability of restaurants.
Yes.
So I presume-
Restaurants and golf, yes.
I'm assuming that's because people have done such a great job on handling, controlling expenses and also bringing margin back up to where it needs to be.
Yes, and as you point out, the preserve margin was running 45 as far as COGS, which is the cost of what it costs to put food on a plate. That's down to like 38, 39%, when it was 45, 46%. So there's a lot of savings there.
I would like to add to that, what I was just seeing on HOA1's numbers is that they're expecting to lose around $300,000 on food and beverage. And they're only operating one facility at a given time. And we're having to operate multiple facilities at the same time. So I think as it relates to financial results on food and beverage, we've become very competitive.
One other thing I'd like to point out is Brad earlier was talking about how our dues, this number, there's 30% taken off of this number. So this number, if you look at the high level, it's a little over $11 million. That's the dues that are $3,600 per household. So that $11 million, you take 30% of that and you put it over into our reserves, and what's remaining is right here. Okay? Just kind of clarify. Okay. Anything else? Good.
Where did we leave off? Like 15, I think.
Oh, okay, so this slide is our year-to-date P&L. Our fees and assessment revenue is up 6%. You see that here. And amenities subsidies of $187,000 is down 81% from 2024. So it was $191,000 subsidy in 2024. Now we're at 187. So it's 81% decrease. So quite a big decrease. We were expecting, when we budgeted, we were expecting 611, and we're at 187. So very good job being done there. The operating expenses are up from last year about 13%. they're at $4,049,000. We had budgeted $4,148,000. So they're down from the budget, but up from last year. And then that gets us to the income of $730,000, and we were at $141,000 this time last year, so that's up 417%. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this slide is the dues allocation, and through July, there's $2,100 of dues that's allocated. And so what that means is out of the $3,600 a year, $2,100 has been used so far this year. $34 is going to F&B, $8 to golf. I don't know if you can read, those are kind of light. $789 goes to reserves, $64 to our patrol, $326 to CAM, $348 to facilities, $504 to G&A, which is general and administrative, and $7.9 to fitness.
I'm going to ask,
Yeah, go ahead.
this time I'm going to ask the folks out there, how many of you like the pie chart, first of all? Okay. How many of you understood the calculation behind it before Terry told you about it? Okay. Good, good. I know we have a lot of finance people in the room. And so this is something you want to continue to see in the future. And I see a lot of heads nodding, so thank you. I'm just getting a pulse.
That's all I had. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, Terry has completed his, and we're moving on to the agenda item, which is appointment of golf committee chairperson. So I'm going to ask Brad to take this away.
So, in our packet, apparently Jeff is... Thank you. Not the first time I've done that. It won't be the last. Jeff Cashmore went through this process to get on the committee back in February, and apparently all they did was resubmit the same form. And he does want to be the committee chair, and the committee has nominated him for your consideration. It was unanimous. Please forgive the fact that this application says no, he's not interested in being chairman, because that was last February. Jeff is a fairly young gentleman. He's in his late 50s. He's about to retire full-time. Lives over here in the Mountain View area. He's been sitting on the golf committee and played an important role in getting through the evaluation of the preserve plan process. And he's an extremely serious golfer, played on his high school team, played on his college team. He's certainly a type A level golfer. And he understands golf courses and golf, etc. He will be a very good leader on the golf committee, and I would like to nominate him as chair.
I think it's a motion. We need a motion.
I move, okay, I guess I didn't use the word move. I move that you support and vote for Jeff Cashmore as chair of the golf committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any comments from the board? Golfers or non? Anybody lose money to him on the course? Okay, all right. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries unanimously. We're moving on to adding a person to the appointment of a golf committee member on slide 22. Sherry, I'm going to ask you to lead this one.
I'm making a motion to add Debbie McMullen to the golf committee. She is a big golfer, has been on the committee for some time in the past, and left at the end of last year, and was a great asset to the committee. We were very sad to lose her from the committee, and she has wanting to come back, and we are thrilled about that. Brad can tell you a little more about it.
Yeah, what we lost when she had a medical
Can I have a
issue.
second first?
Well, she's wanting me to add to her comments. I know Debbie. What we lost when she had to go off for physical reasons was her institutional knowledge. And even though she wasn't on the committee, when we were looking at ways to fund some golfer paid-for initiatives, she brought up opportunities that we didn't know had been in place in the past. So we need that institutional history and understanding, and she'll be a great addition to the committee.
So you're seconding?
And I would second it.
Thank you. Any discussion among the board members? Anyone from the audience? I call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? The vote carries unanimously. All right, we're going to move on. There's actually the next three things on the agenda. All are revolving around SPAC. And so I'm going to ask Matt, can you take care of all three of those for us?
I got you. First of all, Charlie, thank you. We in the Public Affairs Commission business are grateful. We didn't want to be that political action team. My job here is to get the fourth member. We have three members that you've all approved to sit on the HOA2 portion of SPAC. Our chairperson sitting here, Jan. We got a crackerjack team assembled. And Lynn is a long-serving member of the Common Area Maintenance Task Force / Committee, came forward, and she's really going to be the point person on the Firewise program I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. But my job is to make a motion to approve the appointment of Lynn Denning as our fourth member of the SPAC.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Sean seconds. Any discussion at the board? Anyone in the audience? All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? It passes unanimously. You're up again, Matt.
Okay, two community initiatives. One of the things that Jan's done very rapidly is put together a strategic plan to be able to come to both HOA boards and let them know the key issues that we're working on. And so a couple of those we're ready to bring forward for your consideration and approval. The first one I'll talk about is the Firewise program. This is something Darren has a lot of experience with in other communities, and it's a program that we have been talking about for some time. And so what we want to do is gain approval of this board to implement a pilot program here at HOA2. They've got a detailed plan laid out. That was in the papers I sent you. And so they're really ready to get that going once you give us the thumbs up. The second initiative, part of the charter requirements of the SPAC is to engage with government agencies. And so think Pinal County, think Pima County, and of course the community closest to us is Laurel Valley. Two members of the SPAC, Ron Conkle and Jan, earlier this year reached out to Laurel Valley, and just this last month we had the
Economic Development Director.
Economic Development Director and the President, or the CEO of the Chamber, came to visit us at our last SPAC meeting. And what they're looking to do is create a partnership with us, because they realize the residents here in Saddlebrook spend a lot of time in their community for medical care, for dining options, and for entertainment. And so one of the first things that we're working on is to develop a community survey to come to our residents across the entire Saddlebrook, both HOAs, to see what it is that we as residents would like to have available to us in Laurel Valley that isn't. And I'll give you an example. One of our residents came to me, caught me on the driving range one day, and unbeknownst to me, the heart cath lab in the Laurel Valley Hospital was consolidated down to Northwest Hospital. And so, as you all know, if people have a heart issue, that's 20 more minutes of travel down the road. And so I've had my own medical emergencies where Oro Valley couldn't take care of my issues. And so there are gaps. And there are things that residents in our community have a need for, and we want to make that known to the leadership in Oro Valley as they're engaged with the hospitals who happen to sit on their boards and can champion for us bringing some of that service closer to us. So the two initiatives that I'm asking you to approve on behalf of SPAC is the implementation of the pilot program for Firewise and to approve us continuing to develop this relationship with Oro Valley.
Can we take those one at a time?
I can.
Okay, so a motion for
I'll make a motion that we approve the Firewise pilot program for HOA2.
I'll second that.
comments from the board.
What exactly is the pilot program? What are you expecting?
That was in the
for?
paper I sent you. I didn't want to go into all those details.
I just wonder if the residents want to know.
Yes.
We'll make this public.
Thumbnail sketch.
I'm sorry?
Residents are nodding. Thumbnail
Just
sketch.
wants like a elevator or something.
Yeah. Jan, you better at the elevator than me on this one?
Probably not. But the first phase of the pilot program,
Wish Lynn was here.
so the first phase of the pilot program is to work with the unit reps and folks like that to kind of get all of this information out there to all residents. What Firewise is, how it works, no promises for your insurance, premiums or anything like that. This is just to be a better community in terms of preventing fires. So, like I said, the first is getting with unit reps and going forward on that. There's like 3 phases Lynn has identified.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for standing in this breach. So the key objectives for the pilot program in the fourth quarter of this year is to gain approval from the boards, that's what we're here to do today, to do presentations to the board of directors so we can answer your questions, and obviously I'm not prepared to do that today, as well as inform our residents. And they want to do that in the September-October timeframe. The unit reps presentation that Jan alluded to for education and assistance in identifying pilot locations. And working to put the information meeting together with the Golder Ranch Fire Chief in the October-November timeframe to make them a part of our process. So that's what the pilot program looks like for the first quarter. They have laid out 3 quarters of objectives. But when we get a presentation from SPAC and the Firewise point of contact, I think they'll be able to answer all of our questions.
Any other questions from the board members? How about our members?
It's a great program. I was involved in it when we lived in the Black Hills, and education was amazing that they present, and it's a great program.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. You want to take the next?
Yeah, the second piece of that, Janine, is the approval of the engagement with Oro Valley. There's a laundry list of topics for discussion. The first thing that we're trying to do is put together this community survey and a deployment strategy. Somebody asked on how we're going to do this, and we don't have the answers yet. We have made a commitment to one another, both Oro Valley and SPAC, to sit down and devise a deployment strategy in concert with Vivian and Darren, so we do this the right way in deploying this throughout the entire community. So my motion is approve the engagement with Oro Valley that will lead to this community survey.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Sherry seconds. Questions from the board?
Darren, what are your feelings about this? Because obviously this is going to impact restaurants that you manage?
I think anytime we have opportunities to partner with these types of situations, we give it a good look. And I attended that presentation the other day, and I thought they were sharp. They did a nice job, and I don't think there's any downside to it for us at this point.
Any other- go ahead.
Can I bother you for one more thing? Put the paper.
Let's finish the vote.
Let's finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other comments from the members? Questions or concerns?
Where does HOA 1 stand on this, Matt?
They have to take it to their board, just like we're taking it to our board. So it's going to their board as we speak.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? It passes unanimously, and you brought something extra for us on?
I did, and this is for information for you all. This all got put together last week when I was in Texas. I owe this all to Jan. One of the strategic initiatives was brought forward by Melanie Einblum. She's one of the HOA 1 members of the SPAC, and it's about fraud and scams. And she put her toes in the water with us collectively, and Jan grabbed a hold of this. And what happened in a very short time since our August meeting, while I left town and came back, Jan had engaged with the Attorney General's office here in Arizona. It just so happens that they have a fraud and scam campaign targeted at communities just like ours, and our name was on their list, Saddlebrook, because of the age of our population, and it's a target population for scams. And so SPAC has put together a 2-phase program. The first phase is going to be executed on October 20th down at the theater from 11 o'clock to 12:30, and it's going to actually be the Attorney General's office coming in to do this information session with us and to bring their information to help educate us and make us smart. There will be a second phase, a second opportunity early next year to engage with local law enforcement and bank authorities, people that bring expertise in the fraud and scams game, to include the sheriff's office, to come in here. So what I wanted you all to know, so we get on our calendars, is October 20th is going to come around pretty quick here. But it's an opportunity for us to reach out, and Jan will get an article put in all the newspapers, so the residents in all of Saddlebrook will know that this is coming.
Thank you for the heads up and for the good work that SPAC is doing there.
Anybody missing?
Yeah, we have a communications campaign on hold.
Okay.
The next agenda item is related to the common area wall painting policy. Sean, would you like to take this as a member of the policy committee?
Is that, Janine, is this what this paper's all about?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just saw it. Yes, back in June, we sent out the committee rewrite proposal for common area painting, and the residents were given a 21-day comment period for their concerns to come back. We took that into consideration. From what I recall, there wasn't much of a change from what we did, because this was pretty simple. I believe we did get input from Larry Wiley, our common area maintenance person. Ray looked at it, of course Darren looked at it. So without further ado, I would like to formally approve the policy rewrite for the common area wall painting policy.
So Sean made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry. We're going to approve the policy.
Yeah. That has been out for 21 days or more because of summer vacations. Okay, so we have a first and a second. Any questions or concerns or discussion from board members? Anyone of our members? Hopefully you had a chance to comment. All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor? All opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, moving on to the next agenda item. We're going to be looking at a fraud risk policy. And so Chuck, I've asked you to take that.
Thank you, Jane. I'd like to make a motion to conditionally approve the proposed rewrite for the fraud policy and post for the 21-day comment period.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
But I have a comment.
And now it's board comments.
Thank you. Again, having looked at this, I get it, but I'm wondering if we should wait until after do this fraud and scam for SPAC. I mean, you can go out for 21 days and everything, but maybe before we approve it, because when is that? It's in October. So we have to wait for our October board meeting to see if there's anything new that's fraud and scam that we need to add to our policy.
Well, I think the policy is addressing fraud and scam within our organization.
Different, okay.
You know, and so, and I think it's pretty similar to what we had in the past. And of course, all we did was strip out a lot of procedures that Darren has now incorporated. Do you want to add to that?
No, it's good.
Okay.
All right. Any other board comments from our members? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor? All opposed?
Did you get a second?
The motion carries. Okay. The next item is unbudgeted reserve expense for 3 pressure valves. Are you giving the presentation? And then I've asked Brad to work on the motion for you.
Okay. Well, everybody can see the slide, right? In March of 25, we brought on golf course irrigation consultants to take a look at the preserve golf course with the objective of trying to figure out how much useful life was left in that system as we planned a preserve renovation project. They concluded that, they said there were 4 pressure regulating valves, but there were only 3. And they said that we should probably have somebody take a look at them because they weren't operating or functioning properly. Now they're not functioning at all, but back then they weren't functioning properly. We had a third party come out and take a look at them, and the recommendation was that they need to be replaced. And at a golf course committee meeting a few months ago, we talked about this with Troon's team, and it seemed very important to Troon's team and the irrigation consulting folks that if we're going to try and extend the life of this preserved golf course irrigation system, we need to replace those 3 pressure relief valves because the pressure is just going to start creating havoc in the lines. It's too much pressure. So we went out, we got 2 bids, Desert Pump Tank LLC at $32,841, True Club Solutions at $68,557. These pressure relief valves have never been in the reserve fund, so we're gonna buy them now if they're approved, and they will add a useful life of about 15 years and plan for their replacement 15 years out. So this work needs to be done. It's up to the board if they want to create money from the reserve plan fund. That's where we come from at this point.
Yeah, before I make the motion, I'll just add a little bit of color to that. Yeah, Troon wanted a comfort level in committing that they could maintain the course through 2031, and they had a couple asks. One was to have the independent irrigation inspection done. That was done, I think, in late April, early May. And the other part of their ask was to have some more operation expense to be able to support essentially fighting fires on the aged irrigation system. And one of the large problems that was discovered was an imbalance of pressure on the many, many, many miles of irrigation pipe that we have through there. And with the old brittle material, regulating that pressure became more and more important. The net result of all this, based upon the decisions made in May and June by committees and board, was that This would allow us to defer by 2 years approximately an $11 million project with an upfront cost of somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 and an ongoing annual cost, which we would have had to incur whether we were doing the entire project in 29 or 31. This is the larger component of the upfront cost, and it had never been set aside or approved from reserves. So it's pennies on the dollar, long story short. I would like to, suggested motion, use unallocated reserve funds to replace 3 pressure relief valves on the Preserve Golf Course and approve the proposal from Desert Pump Tech in the amount of $32,841. I so move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'd like to very important point out that came to me when Brad was talking. You know, we spent, the association did 6 months ago or so, $400,000 or thereabouts for a brand new pumping system for the Preserve Golf Course. That pumping system won't work if these pressure relief valves aren't installed.
Very important. Very important. Does that raise any questions from the board? Yes, Sherry.
I was going to make that same point because it is critical. The other thing is, would we be taking this out of the Preserve Reserve, which was where I think it should come out of, or is it just the regular reserve?
Well, it's part of the reserve, but because it's not listed in the reserves, we don't really have any money allocated for it. So essentially, we would pull that money from the fund balance and then add that into the reserve for future replacement. It is reserve money.
Right, but we have a separate account for,
But
that
that,
would be for the Preserve Reserve.
For the preserve.
and I think that was for what we knew when we
Right.
did it, versus this is an unknown that wasn't ever in the reserves. Am I correct?
Correct, and I would just add that the dollar amount that sits in the line item, Preserve Golf Course Reserve Fund, is kind of a meaningless number, to be frank, okay? So worrying about where we're moving the deck shares isn't all that important in my mind, so I would totally agree with where the money comes from, doesn't really matter.
Larry?
Yeah, I believe the pump system is slightly less than what we had budgeted.
It was.
And so this will fit right in with the cost of the pumps that will just bring us right back up to budget. So it's not a big deal. But it's needed for the pumps.
Just curious, did we have to replace these for the golf course?
We do not.
I know you weren't here, but
We do not.
did we replace them?
I don't know, but I would assume they would be part of your golf course irrigation renovation program.
Okay, so they probably all did it all at the same time. Okay.
The entire system was replaced at that point.
Okay, did we have a second already on that? I think we did. Okay, I see some hands up. Jean, you want to come with a mic, or are you going to shout?
Are we sure there's not a fourth valve that potentially could?
The question is, are we sure there's not a fourth valve? If the inspector thought there were 4, right?
I confirmed that with the director of agronomy, Mark Soto.
There isn't.
From one of our irrigation consultants, say there's 4.
Any other question?
That was kind of my question as well. Was it a recommendation from the irrigation consultants that there should be 4 on this system?
No, I think they just miscounted.
Okay.
They counted 1 twice. We have a question back there. Joe?
Did we contact the consultant to verify where they came up with the 4 versus the 3 that are there?
I did not contact the golf course irrigation consultant, but I had a lengthy conversation with Mark Soto, who I have a great deal of confidence in, and he said, Darren, there's only 3.
I understand that, but there's a discrepancy.
Right.
Other comments, concerns? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? It passes unanimously.
Who's the second?
Chuck. Chuck was the second. You were the second on that one. All right, the next one is Mountain View Club Refresh. I believe you're going to give a presentation, and then hopefully Larry or Sean's chomping at the bit to get that carpet replaced, so maybe she'll help you with the motion.
We want the whole thing replaced.
Okay, so I'm gonna stand up for this one. We're talking about the Mountain View Clubhouse refresh, right? It was a big project that's been talked about for a couple of years. It includes painting, flooring, bathrooms, all the furniture replacement, and a lot of different components to this project. So we decided, or I made a recommendation to the board earlier this year, that we would break the project up into two parts. And we're focused right now in 2025 on getting the carpet and the floors installed, getting it painted, and getting the bathrooms remodeled. And then we would work with furniture consultants to place order for the furniture in Q4 of this year for like a Q1 delivery next year. You'll see in these slides that this project, if it's approved by the board, it'll probably start tomorrow, the painting of it. The painters are ready to roll, and we have a lot of activities to schedule around. So our team spent quite a bit of time talking about together, trying to figure out how to fit all this work in. The project will span from like August through maybe mid-January. I might be off on that a week. My project team was GM Ray Kuhn. He worked with us. Bill McGinn, our facilities manager. Liz back here, our lifestyle director, Michelle, our marketing director, and Justin, as well as, what am I missing that was on the team? Who? Alan Lambert. So we spent quite a few hours touring the facilities, talking to experts, and meeting to try and figure out what the best recommendation were to make to the board. So we think we're ready to present this to the board. Recommendation to approve refresh to extend clubhouse lifespan needs to be done. Meets resident expectations, preserves asset value, smart investment, built from bids, life cycle analysis. We spent a lot of time on making sure we have contingency plans in place if anything does go awry. Smarter strategic spend, not just cost. Execution plan managed by our internal team. Right? By bringing this in-house and managing this project in-house, we saved about $150,000 that a general contractor was going to charge us. But it's going to take a collective effort. What to consider resident satisfaction trends, avoiding higher costs if deferred, which is inevitable, and the long-term community payoff. So cost of delay, we talked about this internally, you know, with the tariff stuff going on. I think it's almost fading completely that there will be some increased costs in construction costs, and we don't do something now and we wait a year, it will be an extra cost. Whether that cost is $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000, it will be more if we wait 6 months or a year. Let's go to the next slide. Resident satisfaction, 48% in that survey that we did in 23, 48% of those couple thousand people that responded said that satisfaction was not there with regard to the appearance of the clubhouse was dated. Property values, let's stay on that slide. Property values, they refresh every 10 to 15 years, could boost resale demand, just like golf courses, if they're maintained properly. Revenue growth, updated spaces, increased rentals, events, it's going to be more attractive. We've had people come in for special events and they take a look at our ballroom, well, maybe for weddings or those types of events, and it's not in the best shape, right? It could look a lot nicer. And I think that by doing the work that we're recommending today, that would create some more opportunities. And then benchmarking, peer communities refresh every 10 to 15 years. There's benchmarks on everything, and this is just a normal industry benchmark. Let's go to the next slide. Residents expect more. I mentioned the 2023 survey. People said that this work should be done. It's ranked high in importance, low in satisfaction, a clear mandate for the board to act. The residents expect modern, safe, welcoming spaces aligned with brand standards, right? What is our brand? Is it tired and dated, or is it going to be refreshed and exciting? Let's go to the next slide. So it's hard to tell the finishes from the screen, as we all know, when we're looking at carpets and some of the other finishes, but we spent a lot of time working with the different finishes, and we took a lot of the advice that came from 180 Designs, especially in terms of paint colors. But when you look at this slide, this is the bathroom refresh. There's 4 bathrooms in the facility over there. And we're going to be replacing the quartz countertops, new light sconces, new sensor-activated chrome faucets, new mirrors, new countertops, new walls, new tile on the walls, and new tile on the floor. We're also going to replace all the sinks. I think all the toilets. I think we're doing that work in-house to try and cut back on some of the costs. And we're going to make all those ADA toilets ADA compliant, and the urinals as well. I think there's only a couple of those. So that's the general scope of the work. And the ballroom refresh, flooring $120,000 for ADA slippers. It's a 15-year lifespan, dance floor and stage. So we were trying to pick out the color for the dance floor, but we couldn't find a color that aligned with the staging, so we're going to just do them both together. We have money in the budget so that they just blend together instead of having one dance floor color and one stage color. So you can see our paint selections. That was recommended by 180. The flooring, chair fabric doesn't play a role right now. The acoustic panels don't, but the carpet does. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see the hallway refresh. So flooring is $31,000 in the meeting rooms. We did a carpet survey. Everybody knew about that, whether you participated. We're rolling with the carpets out with the preference of the community, and these are the color options. So when you go down the hallway, you'll see that, what kind of floor is that, Ray?
Engineered, LVT.
LVT. It's engineered wood on the dance floor, and it's LVT along the side of the walls there. We run the carpet down the aisle. Incidentally, I'd like to say that we did reach out to the dance club, and they've signed off on the floor that we want to put in there too. Wanted to make sure that they were going to be okay with that. Painting the meeting rooms, hallways, $15,000. Total bid $56,000 for all the painting for the entire facility. Impact provides updated professional space for HR meetings, residence clubs, and rental use. Next slide. So this is the East Room refresh, about $40,000 for the carpet, paint about $16,000, and this will be a really nice upgrade when you look at the flooring that we're using and the carpet that we're using. I think it'll be really a refreshing look. Let's go to the next slide. Main ballroom. So in the main ballroom, you're going to have the carpet on the right, and the wood floor in the ballroom is going to be the selection to the right there. The stage is going to be the same color, so that ties together. You look at the wood flooring that we'll use along with the hallways and the meeting rooms, and we're going to use that color for there. We might just decide, after we take a better look at it, the insert in the bar is carpet, and the plan called for carpet, but we might put the LVT in there too. We're just concerned about acoustics. But we think it would be more durable and a better look. But this is where we're at right now on the proposal. Next slide. So, we put this out for competitive bid. Flooring systems, $191 is what it's going to cost to do all the flooring. Bathrooms, $81,600. Area audio engineering, right? We have a hearing loop in the ballroom. We have a hearing loop in the Sonoran room. But we're not going to do anything with the Sonoran room right now. Oh, is Sonoran room part of it?
It's, yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, so we're moving to a new system, an audio engineering system. It's a Bluetooth product that people can download an app on their phone, and provides for more flexibility. So for example, we have one loop in the ballroom over there, and only one loop. So you can only hear one presentation. With this new system, Area 51 Audio Engineering, we'll be able to put two sound loops. They're not loops, but two sound opportunities in here and in the Sonora room as well. So we'll have more flexibility to allow the hearing impaired to have more opportunities. We reached out to that club. They attended a demo down at HOA 1 on the 18th. It was really well received. We got a letter from a couple of those guys that are part of that club and said, you got to move to this new system. It doesn't make sense putting a loop in anymore. So that's part of the project as well. That's a nice upgrade. And then painting, $56,000 is what it's going to cost. If we take a look at our budget numbers, go to the next slide. Bathrooms allocated 135. So we come in 81, we're under budget on the bathrooms. Interior painting, we didn't get that number right. We budgeted 27, it's costing 56. Flooring, budget 252, bid came in at 191. But in order to get the flooring done, we need to accelerate money from 2027. When they did the reserve last year, all the people involved, it was an oversight. They budgeted for all the carpet this year, but not the flooring for 2 more years. It makes sense to do the whole project together. So we would ask the board to accelerate the needed funds to complete this work. The money's there, it's in the reserve. We just need to move it up. The total allocations, not counting furniture, if we added that 108 from 2027 is $415,000 budget. I put a 10% contingency on it because you don't know what's going to happen. I think that's probably high, but we're going to do our best to avoid those things. So I added a 10% contingency. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is kind of just a review. Total excluding furniture 389. There's 415,040 available with that acceleration. So this money is all put aside for this work. We're coming in under a collective budget, under the number, and I think that the board needs to really think about pulling a trigger on a project like this because we've been talking about it so long, and there's so many different perspectives. But I think the plan that you're seeing today is a solid plan. There's been a lot of involvement with a lot of people, and I'll turn it over to the board.
That's 191, the
Floor should be 191, yes.
Okay, yeah, I think the earlier version
Yes.
was 180.
Good catch.
Okay, we missed it.
Is there another slide?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our time frame. Right, painting phase, August and September. We're going to get started right now because Liz has some things. She's got a schedule. The bathrooms, October 25th through January 26th. The hearing room, September. Flooring phase, we just got word today. If we don't purchase the hearing system September 1st, the cost goes up 20%. That's about $25,000 for it right now. So we go up 20%. The flooring phase, December through January. We would have to close the restaurant for 3 days, but we'd service in the ballroom. And we try and make those accommodations. And the estimated completion will be January 16th, 2026. If we do that, and we hit that schedule, and we manage to get the furniture ordered and get that in Q1, by the end of Q1, the project could essentially be complete. So that's, anything else left on that slide? There's more coming. This is just a project schedule to give you guys an idea of how we think it's all going to play out. And once again, there's been a lot of involvement from our director too. Next slide. Approve the refresh, accelerating partial floor funding, meets resident expectations. I've been approached by a number of people since I've been here about what's the plan for Mountain View. Financially sound, but we're all over budget, on track for Q1 2026 completion. So, there'll be some questions.
Do I have a motion?
Well, I'll make that motion to approve this plan, and then I'll speak afterwards.
And the second part of it, accelerating the flooring funding, the entire motion.
Exactly what's presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I would love to second.
Discussion, Larry, you have words?
Last year, the 180 group did a presentation to the board for the remodel, but they didn't give us any numbers. So it was kind of tough to approve a remodel when you don't know what it's going to cost. So with this, there was money put in the reserve to do this project, hoping that we could do it within that budget. We didn't know. So now we know, and it's coming in under budget. So that's why I made the motion.
No, having spent most of my time in this building, and I just kept saying to Liz, this isn't working for me. And she said, it isn't working for me either. And I know for a fact that she has at least 4 different brides come and say, this would be great. Oh, it won't go with my dress. It won't go with my flowers that go with it. So I think we lost a lot of revenue. So I am delighted that this is going to fly. Darren, thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
Darren, excellent presentation. The questions I thought I had, you pretty much were in front of them. Thank you. Regarding the 3-day closure in January, are there any critical supplies that if we start that 3-day closure would drag out the 3 days? Or would the idea being if we're waiting for something, it's not going to be 3 days in January, it could be 3 days in February? I don't know what's in your Gantt chart, but that's my question.
Well, you know, there's a lot of unknowns in any project. We've talked to the contractors, and the contractors agreed to hit their schedules even if they have to work through the nighttime hours. So we'll just have to take it as it comes, and we can't foresee everything. But there's a lot of involvement from my team, and we're looking at it from a bunch of different perspectives. So it's just not me in a room trying to make all the calls. We're making the calls as a team.
Any other board? Sherry?
I have a question. It looked like the tile was now going to be replaced in the bathrooms?
Yes.
So, that's fantastic to hear, because I know it's been tricky balancing refresh versus remodel, and I think we've made great strides in that. And and then my other question is I know it's been back and forth on the luxury vinyl or the carpet in the bar area, and I know for Bill, it's maintenance. It's very hard for him to clean the tile and then have the soft surface around it.
Right.
So my question would be, not in the bar, but in the hallway, if we don't do just carpet for the entire hallway, and if we add the luxury vinyl down each side, are we not adding additional maintenance and cost also to install that, which is exactly the situation I know Bill's been working to try and alleviate.
Right.
So,
Bill's one of our biggest supporters for the LTV along the side. In our meetings just a couple of weeks ago, we brought that concern up, that somebody had a concern about maintaining all that, and he said, I have no concerns maintaining that transition from one to the other.
okay, I just don't know what's a problem in the dining or in the bar and not there. He talked to me about the area between the two bathrooms, that he really wanted that there. I guess that gets a lot of traffic.
He is putting it there.
Yeah, no. And one of the advantages of the carpet that was selected is that it's carpet tiles. And so if it helps with maintenance to have it all carpet, it would be very easy if that area does get extra worn. So I don't know, there might be a little bit of cost savings and might look at also the
What's your
maintenance.
opinion about putting the luxury vinyl tile in the bar area for the carpet?
From a cleaning standpoint, I think it's great.
You think it would be too loud?
I'm concerned about the sound.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, it depends. Some people, when they do a bar, they want it loud and lively, and others want it quiet, just because of the hearing issues.
Yeah.
But, you know, either way, they have their pros and cons.
Any other board comments or questions?
Yeah, as I recall, the total amount of the refresh, including the furniture and everything, was around $750.
Around there, yes.
What does that leave us for the furniture for next year then? What is our remaining?
We have about
budget?
$300,000 of furniture, I think, high 270s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you said that the dance clubs approved this, did they actually see the wood that was going on the floor, or did you just tell them it was engineered?
No, they saw it, they did it, they visited it, and they liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's good.
Okay, and I thought I saw up there, it's going to take 4 months to do the bathrooms? Is that what that
On and off.
Gantt chart showed?
On and off, yeah.
So you're going to do one at a time?
Oh, we got 4 bathrooms, so we can shut a pair down and finish them up. And,
Okay, so they're all not going to be done for 4 months, just one at a time?
Exactly. Yeah, and I will say, you know, we have this relationship with Troon as part of their buying collective. They can provide us with opportunities to buy certain things, and one of those opportunities is furniture. So we met with, they made the connection just the other day. We met with Real Foods Clubhouse design team And we talked about furniture in general, and just from the one meeting, it looks like they can probably save us 20, 30, 40% on the furniture we were looking at through just a regular distributor. So there could be some opportunities there. Okay.
All sounds like good news. Do we have any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, I'm going to take a second, Mike.
Yes.
Hello?
So there was discussion about LVT and engineered flooring, because they're very different, and hopefully everybody understands that. So where is the engineered flooring going to go?
The engineered floor is going to go in the ballroom dance floor. Right here.
Here.
Right here.
Okay.
And the LVT is going to go along the hallway walls.
And/or the bar area?
Well, we're looking at it.
Yeah.
We have to make a decision quick if we're going to do that. We're looking at it.
Okay.
Wait, we got one here,
Question.
What's the height of the toilets that you're going to put in? Is it 17 inch or 19 inch?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I can tell you that,
It's important because
Okay.
there's some people that can't get up.
sure,
Are there going to be grab bars?
there will be grab bars. Yep. Yep.
Ray's gonna be your hero.
Kathy, I can answer that for you, because I had the conversation with Bill again. I said, don't even think about putting little toilets. We're not doing any toilet training here in our desert, our Mountain View. And he assured me that they would be the comfort height.
Yeah. And with grab bars. Yes, ma'am.
Maureen's next.
I have a question. You mentioned that there would be painting and carpeting redone here at Mountain View. And since I'm on the board for the library, I've got to ask, does that include the library? Because there's a lot of books to move.
It does include the library.
Start moving.
We have one here.
And all the flooring work, carpeting and vinyl and engineered, whatever, will be yet this year? Is that-
Yes.
You know, we have a health fair coming up in this building in October. Will it be right in the middle of changing flooring?
I haven't, but Liz has taken great pains working with her team to make sure that the schedules are maintained as closely as scheduled as possible. Is that going to present a concern to them, Liz?
Flooring's not till second week of December.
Okay, so you're good.
I didn't hear that comment.
Flooring December.
Flooring is in December.
December, thank you.
Anybody over here?
Jan, go.
Go, okay. I would just, as a new homeowner here, I would just like to thank Darren and his team for this amazing plan and work. Having lived in a new development elsewhere and refreshes being needed, there was nothing ever like this put together, so this is amazing, and I congratulate you on that, and great job.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? For
I
praise?
just, sorry, Janine, to interrupt you. Liz and Mandy have taken great pains to look at the schedule, and because I'm part of the community circle players, and we're getting ready to go into auditions and rehearsals and performance, they've worked around everything so that we can go on with the schedule that we have, and I think they've done that with every group. Am I not right, Liz?
Most of them, all the big items, all the big things.
Yeah, I mean, we may have to adjust a little bit, but they've taken care of us. Thank you.
All right, I think we've had quite a lively discussion, and I see no more need to prolong this, so I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor of approving the motion to approve the project as proposed and accelerate flooring funding from the 2027 reserve plan, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. All right, we're at the final stage of the agenda, which is just general member comments, questions, concerns, and so we're going to have to be passing the mic around again.
Chuck Kelsey, Unit 29, Lot 69. Question for Terry, or a basic accounting question. Are we accruing the OIF for Troon as we go on a monthly basis, or is that only done at the end of the year? It's a fairly big number.
So are you talking about for true the,
OIF is the way it was talked about in 2024.
is that like a bonus or what is that?
15% of the variance to budget for the golf operations.
Yeah, we're not accruing that on a monthly basis. We'll probably accrue it at the fourth quarter to see what it looks like first, because the only time they've received anything was like $15,000, and that was the first year. But last year they didn't receive anything, so.
Okay, so that'll wipe out, just for people that are watching the numbers, that'll wipe out a chunk, 15% of the variance to budget when we close out the year.
If we do that.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Anyone else? If I lean back here.
I have 4 questions about common area maintenance. The first question is, for the last 6 months, there hasn't been any communication in the Monday message regarding globally levels 4, 5, and 6. It simply says TBD. So the question, when will there be information for the communities so that we know what to expect in the units? I believe the current policy calls for a plan that addresses that.
So in the budget process, as we speak, we've allotted, I believe, 4 additional months of GOAT work in levels 4, 5, and 6, and then an additional, I believe, 4 months, 4 to 6 months, let's say, in 2026.
Appreciate that. It doesn't necessarily answer the question though. I'm talking about all units. Right now the GOATs are working with the golf course, but many people don't have golf course property, and it doesn't address anything globally. It just addresses what the GOATs are doing a month at a time.
Yeah, so you know as well as anyone that it's been pretty fluid this year, and I don't think there is a complete comprehensive view of that as we speak. What we've allotted is what I said.
Okay, so the question is, will that plan be developed as called for in the policy or not?
I believe we have plans for doing level 4 maintenance as needed, and then 5 and 6 as we have budgetary monies available to do that. So it's a slightly different approach than we were taking with level 4 previously. It's more related to cleaning it up and then maintaining it with chemicals.
So that answers a little bit one of the questions. Earlier this year, we were told that level 4 would be done twice each year, and wondering the current state of that.
So you're correct, that was the plan. With Larry coming on board, he felt strongly that once we have it cleaned up, which, as you know, we did complete that full cycle in the spring of this year, that we would be able to maintain it better by using chemicals. And pre and post emergent specifically. And then allot the CAM team as needed to maintain what we're not able to accomplish with the pre and post emergence.
Okay, I guess I appreciate that again, but it's not a plan. It's not letting the residents know when their areas will be cared for. So I think it's something that needs to be looked into. Another question. Since the beginning of this year, the Monday message has incorrect level descriptors for levels 4 through 6 in the area entitled Common Areas of Responsibility. Can this please be corrected?
We'll make a note of it.
Thank you. And the last question. When the Common Area Task Force and the Common Area Committee researched using GOATs in the HOA, we certainly thought that it would merit the community. And many of us thought that, great job, it's going to be good to support what's going on. But at no time did we ever believe that it would be pretty much the sole plan. The concern is progress is very slow. At the current level of progress, it will take approximately 3 years just to complete the golf courses. What's the plan to care for not only golf course, but the rest of the community that has common area that needs to be cared for? Including things like, as the policy states, regenerating barren areas And how will the speed of the progress be able to be increased?
Yeah, so, the team, in my opinion, I think Larry and his team are doing a great job out there on the work that they're doing. I can tell you that they're in the process of just finishing up developing all of their operational plans for all of their supervisors. Before, there were never any operational plans. They're in the process of mapping and documenting all of our stormwater system areas and our culverts, and we've scheduled the clean out of a number of culverts using back trucks. There was never a schedule. We're creating schedules. I just don't think we're there with a Camp 4, Camp 5 schedule. Now we're still trying to figure out the lay of the land, figure out the best use of his resources. We'll get a plan together, but I gotta really applaud the work that's being done. I think the work's great, and we'll address your concern.
Yeah, Darren, there's no question about it. The work being done, especially in 1, 2, and 3, is phenomenal. And Larry has done an awful lot since he's been here. I think the concern is the lack of information about levels 4 through 6. They have been abandoned except for the work of the goats. So I guess all I have to say about it, and I'll get out of your way, is please don't abandon the work that's already, been started in the past and should be scheduled in the future.
Okay, Larry. Eileen, thank you for your concerns and everything. So one of the things that you were asking about was level 4 care, and you wanted a set schedule for level 4. And the way that it's going to be maintained is through the pre and post emergent situation. Those pre and post emergents are going to be applied in October of this year, and then every 6 months they'll be taken care of again. If there's ever any kind of weeds or anything that takes on after that, we are in between those periods, we'll be calling budget pest control back to take care of those issues if something happens in those areas. Now the level 5 areas that are being maintained right now are basically where we have water flow, where it's extremely bad. We've got weeds that are growing waist high through these places, and the water restrictions that we have for water flowing through these areas is an issue. So we've got to get those taken care of. And once we get those taken care of, and I believe that we only have a couple of those spots, after the areas that they're in right now, which is area 36, I'm sorry, they just finished at 33. When they finish 36, they'll be going across the way from Desert View to help clean up across the road on Clubhouse. But the amount of time that we have in the budget for the goats to be on the property, we have to hit the most important areas, the ones that have the highest complaints. Wherever we have these water restriction flow issues, that's got to be made into the priority. But as far as the level 4 goes, they'll be there every 6 months taking care of it, and they'll be on on-call basis. We'll have the level 4 team actually, which is doing the level 5 work, going back into the level 4 areas to raise trees and elevate things like that once we've got that all under control with the pre and the post emergence.
Thank you, Larry. Matt, you have the floor.
Yeah, Eileen, I got nothing but love for you. I've been in this fight with you for pretty near 3 years now. And the thing that we didn't get right in this community is a concept called tactical patience. You start out on a journey. It's a marathon. You don't know where you're going to end up or how you're going to end up or what it's going to take to get there. And we started out with the campaign a couple of years ago, and as my good friend Brad's willing to tell you, was found to be very unpopular. And so I was very unpopular with it. The big old machine, I'm an advocate of taking the jungle down. When you go out here and you look at these waterways today that we cleaned up, you realize the problems that we have been hiding from ourselves for a long time. I'm out there virtually every day inspecting what the goats do and our CAM team. Every night I'm out there. I'm on a first name basis with Andrew and Heather. They see me regularly. Larry runs into me. I'm on the course all the time because this is important. We've had a champion running around in this community telling us for years the hidden big problems we had with drainage. And the CAM committee did a great job of bringing that to my attention. And so I was skeptical about Team GOAT, but watching Team GOAT and the CAM team and the work that's been done, if you go out here and drive down 6 and 7 and you live down there, you can't be anything but impressed. And so what I would encourage is have some patience with us. We're going to win this fight. They're still trying to figure out what right looks like, and they're still trying to figure out how we're going to get this whole thing done, because I'm curious about how we win on 9 myself, okay? But I can tell you that after nearly 3 years of watching all of this and listening to all of this, be patient. Progress is being made, and the critical priorities are being addressed, and I congratulate you for that.
Arnie Spence, Unit 28. I have 4 short questions. First one's to Terry. Terry, what % or amount of dues are uncollectible?
Thanks. So the amount of dues that we have are uncollectible are very low. This past 2 years, we've seen an increase in it as far as hard collect. Everything gets collected eventually. Some stuff that doesn't get collected goes to a lawyer, and then they do some proceedings to take care of that. The last I know, we're looking at maybe 40 houses out of 3,200. So, yeah. But those will get collected.
I will say, I report on that in my report, that before we build the second annual assessment or the biannual assessment, we had about $54,000 on the street. Considering the millions of dollars that we collect, it's a very small amount.
Like
Yeah,
0.06%.
Yeah.
The other questions are directed, yesterday at the meeting, I didn't have a chance to answer this because we went from the first item to the second item, but the first item was on the land. And they were talking about possibly land for our maintenance area that was the state-owned. And there was something as far as buying it, then it was maybe leasing it, then it was something else, and then finally a bid. Do we know what this bid would take to get that land? Is it $1? Is it 100,000? Is it 500,000?
Larry will take that.
As soon as the deed that was produced last week, the 2 deeds, are approved by the state, the next step is getting an appraisal. And once that appraisal comes in, then we'll know what it's going to cost us to buy that land. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll know.
And then my last question relates to that. Is the infrastructure on that land now, or if not, how much is it going to cost to put gas, water, sewer, and electric?
That is vacant land.
That's
And
phase 2.
Fortunately, there was no Indian cemetery there, or we'd had big problems. But it's clear, totally clear.
So there's nothing.
Nothing there, totally vacant.
Is the facilities planning task force looking at that, and Ed looking at some of the costs for what we would need to develop that? Roger will say yes.
My question is more of a community concern that there seems to be so much controversy between how HOA 1 is doing financially against HOA 2, and how many subsidies 1 has versus 2. I was interested that you said that as of yet, the food subsidy is $34 per household. So if everybody in this community went to dinner one time, we wouldn't have a subsidy.
You should be on the board.
Hello!
Is that a comment or a question?
Well, that's a comment and a push.
I hate to break your bubble, but the math is more complicated than that.
I understand.
It would have to be about $120.
Well,
Any other
that's 2
comments?
dinners. That's 2 dinners at the preserve. Bingo.
Comments, questions, concerns? Well, we've come to the end of member comments, and I call that we adjourn this meeting at 3:39 p.m. Thank you for your time.